Hello and welcome to the City of Roseville Parks and Recreation Adult Softball Online Managers Meeting. This video is designed to help provide you with all the necessary league information for the 2024 season to help ensure that your team has a positive experience within our adult sport leagues. First, I want to thank you for choosing to play in the City of Roseville Parks and Recreation Adult Softball League. I understand that you have several softball options throughout the metro area, and we appreciate that you have chosen to play with us this year. The goal of our leagues is to provide a safe, fun, well-organized, and fair atmosphere for all participants of all backgrounds and all skill levels. All guidelines, policies, and procedures outlined in this presentation and in our rule book have been created with these goals in mind. That said, I would like to take a moment to quickly introduce myself. For those of you who I have not met, my name is David Peters, and I am the Recreation Supervisor in charge of our adult sport leagues here with the City of Roseville's Parks and Recreation Department. This will be my second year here with Roseville, but my 13th in total in working in Parks and Recreation, and I couldn't be more excited to get another season underway. In the event that you have any questions, comments, feedback, or if you simply need to contact me, I can be reached by either email or phone listed on this slide. My primary method of communication with managers this season will be via email and also through Team Sideline. If you do not use email, please let me know as soon as possible so that alternative arrangements can be made. Please be sure to check out our league website and our Team Sideline pages listed on this slide. League schedules have been posted and are now live. Any schedule changes that are made will be posted on the Team's Sideline webpage. If there are any changes that are made throughout the course of the season, I will do my best to inform managers of these alterations. You'll notice that league web pages indicate updated standings and results after each game. We do encourage managers to check back often to let us know if there are any scoring discrepancies. With your help, this will ensure that we are keeping accurate tabs for all of our leagues. As it currently stands, games are scheduled to begin the week of Sunday, April 28th, and each subsequent day, weather permitting. Each league will have playoffs, which are indicated on this slide. Brackets will be posted on our league webpage following the final game of the season. All teams are required to provide a roster prior to the start of their first game. Rosters must include all players that you intend to use on your team at any point during the season, including our postseason. You may either submit a roster online through our Team Sideline webpage by clicking the roster entry module towards the top left-hand portion of the page, or fill out and send me a copy of your team's roster directly via email. Please note that rosters will not be accepted at our fields. Substitute players will be allowed during the regular season. However, only rostered players may be used during the playoffs. When selecting substitutions, please consider the skill level of your league and do your best not to bring in ringer players who may make the balance of the league unfair. Please note that teams who do not submit a roster will forfeit that particular game if they are protested against, and it will be reflected as a loss on their team's record. If games are ever in question, please contact our weather website that can be found on the league page or schedule page, or by calling the weather hotline at or after 4:30 p.m. Play or no play decisions will be based on the status of the fields as of 4:15 p.m., not based on any forecasted or projected weather conditions. If conditions prior to 4:30 dictate that fields will be unplayable, we will make every effort to update the weather website as early as possible to let you know if games will be canceled. I ask that you please check the weather hotline and weather web page first before calling our league office. Should conditions change after 4:30 p.m., the umpires on site will make the final play or no play decision based on the conditions of their particular field. In the event of after-hour cancellations, we will attempt to update the weather hotline as soon as possible, but cannot do so until we receive confirmation that all fields have been canceled for the night. Should rain occur, up to 2 weeks of rainouts will be rescheduled. Game time is the time listed on your schedule, and teams should be prepared to be ready to play at that time. A 10-minute grace period will be allowed for all 6 o'clock p.m. games, but please note that 10 minutes will be removed from your total game time. A 5-minute grace period will also be allowed for all other game times. Remember that 5 minutes will be deducted from your total playing time. Once a team has 8 players present, they must begin and cannot wait for the 9th or 10th player to arrive. Games will be 7 innings long, with no new innings set to begin 55 minutes from the scheduled start time. Please note, if you must forfeit your game, please contact your opponent as well as our league office by phone as soon as possible. Nobody likes to show up for a game and not have a team to play. However, we do encourage teams to make every effort to field the team for each game so teams can continue to receive the same number of games. Injuries, illnesses, vacations, and other situations come up through the duration of our softball seasons. If your team is looking to add additional players or subs, please contact me directly and I am more than happy to provide you with a list of free agent contacts. At that point, it is up to you as the team manager to contact the additional players and get them added to your roster. Game balls and scorebooks for the entire season will be distributed on the first night of each league. If you have a scheduled game, they will be located at our pavilion at the Victoria Ball Fields. Please note that if you have a bye the first week, I ask that you have a representative from your team stop by the pavilion at the Victoria Ball Fields and between Vic 1 and 3 at 6 o'clock p.m. the first night of your league. This will be your team's only chance to get softballs and scorebooks. Managers will be given a package of softballs containing 1 game ball per home game, and additional softballs will not be provided at any point during the season. Managers must bring a ball for each of their home games. If a home team fails to provide a new game ball, they will begin that game behind 3-0. As a rule of thumb, visiting teams should also be prepared to provide at least 1 used ball in the event that the primary game ball is hit out of play. For playoff games, umpires will have game balls ready at the fields. Teams will also be provided a scorebook at their first game. More information will be provided about that during later slides. Please note that while softballs will be distributed for our fall leagues, scorebooks will not be available. All non-wood bats must have the USSSA stamp referenced in this presentation on them. The old 220 stamp will be accepted through the 2024 season. Beginning in 2025, all bats are required to have the new 240 stamp on them. Bats must be unaltered and comply with the USSSA Rule Number 2. Earlier, teams will be provided a scorebook prior to their first game. Each team is expected to keep book for each of their league games. At the conclusion of each half inning, please consult with the umpire and the other scorekeeper to ensure that all 3 parties have the exact same score. In the event of a discrepancy, if it is caught at the end of a half inning, it should be easy to compare books to correctly assess and get the correct score. However, if errors are allowed to persist, it is often difficult to go back 2, 3, or even 4 innings to correct them. For that reason, please be sure to check with the umpire and the opposing scorekeeper at the conclusion of each half inning. The primary focus of our Roseville Adult Softball League is to have fun. Teams are expected to demonstrate good sportsmanship at all time towards their opponents, the umpire, spectators, and their teammates. As managers, please prevent your team from getting into trash talking with the other team or arguing with the umpire. By participating in our league, all players, umpires, and spectators agreed to abide by our Code of Conduct policy. Failure to adhere to these guidelines may result in ejections, suspensions, forfeits, and removal from our league and future Roseville Parks and Recreation leagues and programs. All umpires officiating in our Roseville Parks and Recreation Adult Softball League are expected to be USSSA certified. Teams may reasonably expect umpires to be on time, behave professionally, be approachable, hustle, and demonstrate good communication skills. Understand that it is completely unreasonable for teams to expect umpires to get every call correct, know every single rule, and tolerate frequent complaints and verbal abuse. Under no circumstance should any manager, player, or spectator make comments about the umpire's integrity or threaten them verbally or physically. Additionally, it is absolutely unreasonable to expect umpires to tolerate complaints about balls and strikes. Overall, judgment calls are not open for dispute, and teams must learn to live with the fact that umpires will make the calls that they will not agree with and that they must move on with the game. Failure to treat our umpires with respect, dignity, and common courtesy will result in ejections, suspensions, forfeits, and potential removal from our leagues. When interacting with umpires, please keep the following items in mind. Only team managers or the player involved may discuss a call with an umpire, and only after time is granted by the umpire. Discussions must be respectful. Shouting, gesturing, or profanity will not be tolerated. After the umpire has given their explanation, the manager or the player involved must return to their position or dugout immediately. Please note, rule interpretations may be formally protested in accordance with the City of Roseville Parks and Recreation rules as found in our rule book. Judgment calls are final and are not open for protest. Actions and behaviors will result in a warning or an immediate ejection if observed by an umpire. Please prevent your players and spectators of your team from engaging in any of the following actions: continuous complaints about judgment calls, any player besides the manager leaving their position to argue a call, shouting at an umpire, using profanity or other inappropriate language directed at another player, umpire, or spectator, the use of personal statements towards an umpire, threats or taunting of any other player, spectator, or umpire, continuing a behavior after receiving a warning. Per league rules, any player ejected from a game will serve at least a one-game suspension. Depending on the severity and nature of the ejection, this could be longer, up into removal from our league. These same rules also apply to spectators and fans of your team. While there have been multiple revisions to the USSSA rulebook to fit our specific Roseville adult softball leagues, there are a few that I would like to briefly highlight here. As far as home run limits go, the men's C division has a maximum of 4 home runs and plays with the +1 rule, which was implemented in 2016. Please note that only the C division will use this +1 rule. The men's D division will allow 3 home runs, Co-Rec C has 2 home runs, and Co-Rec D allows 1 home run. Understand that any home run beyond the limit allowed will be only 1 out, which differs from the USSSA rule. All league rules will use a 3-ball, 2-strike count with no courtesy foul. In short, this means that if a player has 1 strike against them and they hit a foul ball, they will be called out. Players are not permitted to dig into the batter's box by kicking dirt out of the way as they come into the box. Players are allowed to shuffle dirt around to even out the spot that they are batting in to essentially fill holes that are made. But again, batters may not dig into the batter's box. Please note that metal spikes will also not be allowed in our leagues. A courtesy runner will be limited to 1 per inning, and the courtesy runner will be considered the last person put out. In an effort to help prevent any unnecessary injuries, Roseville has clarified our double play rule. All runners must either slide legally or attempt to get out of the way of the fielder turning to complete the double play. For a slide to be legal, players must remain on the ground and slide directly towards the base. The image shown on this slide would be considered illegal in our league as the runner is not going directly towards the base and he has his right leg elevated off the ground. This would be ruled an out for both the runner sliding and the runner at first base, granting the double play regardless of where the fielder's throw ended up. Additionally, hitting the ball back towards the pitcher intentionally, also known as lighting up or buzzing, in an effort to intimidate the pitcher will not be tolerated or allowed. If an umpire is confident that a team is intentionally hitting the ball up the middle at the pitcher, they have been instructed to warn and then eject the offending players. Please understand that this is an extremely dangerous situation that can lead to severe injury and even cause death. I ask that you please demonstrate good sportsmanship and do not allow members on your team to intentionally hit the ball back up the middle in an effort to intimidate the opposing team's pitcher. Please note that speakers and radios are not permitted on benches during official game times. Teams may play appropriate music during warm-ups only. Please avoid blasting or blaring music that may have profanity or be inappropriate. Remember, a lot of our fields are in surrounding neighborhoods with other park goers and residents. Additionally, please take time to review all local league rules and share with all of the players on your team. As a gentle reminder, any rule not listed in our local rules will follow the USSSA rulebook, which can be found online through the link provided. At the conclusion of the season, each regular season and postseason champion will receive championship shirts. A maximum of 14 will be allowed per team. I will be contacting each manager who is entitled to the shirts following the conclusion of the season to obtain their sizes. The sooner I get your t-shirt sizes, the sooner I can put in the order, and the sooner you can pick them up and distribute them to your team. In summary, please remember that we want this league to be safe, fun, well organized, while also emphasizing good sportsmanship for everyone involved. I ask that you please be leaders on and off the field and encourage your teams and spectators to follow suit. Please keep these games in perspective. While competition is important, we do want all participants and spectators to be safe and have a good time. Please do not hesitate to contact me with any questions, comments, or feedback throughout the entirety of the season. Finally, thanks again for choosing to play in our Roseville Adult Softball League. I hope that everyone has a safe, fun, and enjoyable season. Best of luck, and I will see you out on the field soon. Thanks.